everybody. Welcome to Chanel's Reality. Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are already part of the team, the Chanel Squad, thank you for joining me. And for anyone who's new, welcome. Um, please, guys, if y'all can just smash all my buttons. I got that from Marty Curves. But now, if you guys could all just basically like the video, if you like the content that I'm providing, you can go ahead and subscribe. And Chanel's Reality welcomes everyone. I'm just trying to get this centered. So today we're gonna talk about some not so great things, in my opinion. So let me just give the trigger warning. It could be triggering. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to get it somewhat centered. I haven't figured out my space yet. But some people may be triggered because it's about violence. It's there's violence involved. Let me say that. Alleged violence involved. So a few months back, we heard about the rapper Jeezy filing for divorce from his wife, Jeannie Mai. She was on The Real with Tamar Rexon. I don't forget how long that show was on the air. I think like 5 or 6 or 7 years. I'm not exactly sure because I think I stopped watching after like the third year after they took Tamar off. Not that I liked her more than the others, but aside from, oh no, Jeannie Mai is actually the only one I didn't know from something. But anyway, everything said here on Chanel's Reality, that would be me, is alleged and for entertainment purposes only, and or it's in my opinion. Okay, got it. So, multiple outlets have been reporting that I'm just going to read you the article that I read from People Magazine. It says, the title, it says, Jeannie Mai accuses estranged husband, Jeezy, of domestic abuse and child neglect amid ongoing divorce. Jeannie Mai's court filing comes after Jeezy requested joint physical and legal custody of the couple's daughter, Monaco, earlier this month. There was I feel like lots of people who, I was just like, when it was announced that they were getting a divorce, I was like, what is happening? Like, I don't know if you guys know Eva from Top Model, and she also was on a few seasons of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Eva the Diva. And then Drew Sidora, which I don't know why she was even with. Anyway. But, it was just multiple people that I was just kind of like, you couldn't have told me that these people wasn't made for each other based on what they put out, right? On social media or whatever. And the thing about social media is I try to look at it as how you would look at a resume, right? We know people all the time on their resume, right? They be like, yo, look, give me a chance to get in this job, I'm gonna figure this out real quick. But in essence, what I'm saying is a resume is a snapshot of what you actually have done, your actual credible information, the actual jobs you worked in or companies you work for. Because I can promise you, people are not putting on their resume that job that they got hired for and then fired from 4 months later. They're not. Mm-mm. No, because why am I doing that? I can't tarnish what I want the world to think about me. So if people will do that on a resume where companies can go and verify, what do you think people are going to do on social media? And before we get started, let me just say this. Um, for all of the people who want to victim shame, um, and want to blame this lady for anything, and I'm not saying she's innocent or he's innocent. I am saying I've been around the block a number of years, and we have this toxic conditioning where, for whatever reason, women are taught to um, stay with a man through thick and thin. And it's like, for some people, a collective unconsciousness anytime a man is accused of something by a woman. And it doesn't really almost matter what it is, right? So if he says that he's getting a divorce, it had to have been something she did. Yet we tell women, stay with a man regardless of your happiness, or you better do for that man what another woman will to keep him. Because I'm like, bye. Go on over there, well, girl. Bye, Felicia. Go be with her. I'm good. Be very clear. Um, but it's always our fault somehow. People will come out in droves to blame the victim, and they don't even have to have the whole story. Mm-mm. And this is how you can tell victim blamers from the jump, is when they have almost no questions for the predator or the accused person. They don't have no questions for that person. This is another way you can tell. I'm gonna just have to see, and I'm gonna just have to let this play out in court. Okay, girl. That's how you know, no matter what she says, they're not gonna believe her. They're not. They could have actual proof. People just, and let that person be a celebrity, you might as well hang it up. They are not. I remember several years ago when they were trying to prosecute Bill Cosby, how many women I worked with, women and men. But from my experience, it's always women. It's majority women, from my experience, that have all these questions for the person that is accusing someone of something. They'll have no questions for the perpetrator or the accused perpetrator or alleged perpetrator. They need to know if it's a victim. Well, how long? Why didn't you tell us as soon as you found out? Why she doing it now? Why she making it? Why you not asking him? Why is this person making this allegation about you? When you think about it, women's track records are, I'm going to stay and I'm going to ride this till the wheels fall off. That's our track records over centuries. Whether it's because of your religion, because you don't want to be embarrassed because you're getting a divorce, you don't want to have to go try love again, whatever. It's for the kids. People make up especially women. Why? Same reason why we blame victims. I don't want people to start attacking me, because that's what's going to happen, even if they don't say it out loud. Where your husband? Why y'all break up? See, it's sad. But yeah, if it's a celebrity, it's 10 times more difficult to get the world to believe a woman. And my theory for why that is like that is because you got to think about it. Who set up the rules? I don't recall any women being in the room when they wrote what, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, most of the laws. They were all white men. And guess what people tend to do? They tend to not work against their own best interest. So that's why we have laws that say if you get SA'd, you have this time limit to say this person did that. How dumb is that? So someone has RB, but the R, we ain't put no time limits on that person. But we're gonna put these time limits on this woman. Or the victim, because it happens to males as well. And I'm well aware of that. So I don't need you coming in my comments talking about you don't understand. I do. I have my whole entire working life been a public servant. I'm a social worker and a therapist. So, and I'm not saying I know everything, even though I probably am. Right? I probably do. I do think that way. I'm a Leo, sorry. It is what it is. It ain't changing over here. But no, I can give people grace for sure. But I know what I know. And the reality is, statistically, men are just more violent. How do I know that? Let me break that down to you. Beyond the studies, y'all ever seen any at me if you have. Y'all ever seen any men shelters for domestic violence? Is what they call it. They call it that on purpose. It's very intentional. Why? Because we want people to think, oh, this is a family matter. It used to be a law that a man could hit his wife. People used to think if you're married, your husband can't argue. It wasn't that long ago that the people were thinking that way. Just saying, if you don't know some of this, I understand everybody's not going to know. Especially if you grew up in a household with aunts and uncles and whomever else sitting around telling you, talking to each other about how they just trying to ruin that man's life. Really? For all of those people that are going to make excuses and say this woman is trying to get something, whatever the case may be, that they always do in victim shame. If the world didn't have a collective unconsciousness about men, why don't we have all men daycares? Y'all know some? Because I don't. And I'm just one person, but I ain't ever seen a male-run, all-male staffed daycare center. Why do you think that is? People who think that we should just believe the man, just believe the perpetrator. You taking your child to the daycare that's run by all men? Why? Why you not? Because even without reading a book, you know that if you care about your child in any manner, you're not sending your child to that. Plus, be clear, if it's such a safe thing and it's such a good market for men to be able to do it too, to open these daycares with all men, why aren't any men doing that? Because ain't nobody bringing their child to an all-men daycare. It ain't going to happen. It's not. And I know there are people out there that will say, oh, there are boarding schools or whatever type of Catholic schools and only girls and only boys and whatever else. Yeah, for those that can talk and can tell you what's wrong. That's why I say daycare. Those little kids can tell you, I mean, they can, but guess where it's not going to stand up in a court of law? It just isn't, because of their age, which is why stop leaving your child with everybody, especially if it's the people we're talking about. And it don't even have to be, it could be, let me be clear, it could be, it's typically someone they know. People don't get harmed by perfect strangers. Let me say it like this, rarely. Do they not know the victim? in some capacity. It's rare. But they, listen, how long do people know about R. Kelly and Aaliyah? And it took 20 something years after everybody knowing. The industry, all the gatekeepers. And then with Bill Cosby, whatever they're saying, oh, that man was trying to buy NBC. So you can't be a predator and also try to buy. Just knock it off. Stop it. People love to, in general, even if it isn't about a male or whatever, people just, unfortunately, we live in a society, like I said, that's toxic. And like I said, people don't want, for whatever reason, that to be happening to someone that they love. They can't fathom stop listening to R. Kelly's music or stop watching the Cosby Show. They just can't. They can't do it. They can't do it. Or they don't want to. But if I'm being fair, there are plenty of parents that their children do inform them of what's going on. And they don't become protective. And also too, be clear, the person that's probably doing that to your child, if she's coming or he's come and told you this is what's going on, they're already having their mind. They pick out certain people, troubled, getting in trouble at school, whatever it is. Well, you know she a liar. And if they're grown and say something happened to them, she's clout chasing, she just trying to come up. It can't be the perpetrator. It has to be something that this lady needs or wants. Stop me when I'm lying about something. Y'all sending y'all kids to the men only daycare? You're not. Let's put Mr. Kelly at your child's middle school. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. And then let's have a meeting with all the parents and say, hey, this is the 32 women that are accusing Mr. Kelly or Mr. Cosby or Mr. Weinstein or Mr. Epstein or whoever. 30 plus women have accused this man of Ring them, harassing them, whatever. I'm going to be at the school immediately if I get a notification that you're hiring some idiot like that. I promise you. Hmm. How many people going to want them to live in their neighborhood? So again, don't come in the comments starting at them. I love a healthy debate, but it's got to be healthy and productive. Hi. That's what it has to be. It has to be healthy. We're not. We are exchanging information, thoughts, and whatever else, but we're not bashing people. You'll get blocked. So let's just be clear about that. But anyway, let's move on with the article. So it says Jeannie Mai is accusing. Did I read this already? I feel like I read this already. But if I didn't, let me just read it again. Jeannie Mai is accusing her estranged husband, Jeezy, he's a rapper, of domestic abuse and child neglect amid the couple's ongoing divorce. In a new court filing obtained by People, the real alum, so remember I was telling you she was on that show, the real, she's 45, alleges several incidents of domestic abuse and child neglect during her relationship with the rapper. Born Jay Wayne Jenkins. So that's Jeezy's real name. That's his real name. She claims Jeezy has explosive outbursts, excessive drinking, and she accuses him of domestic violence. In a response to the allegations, Jeezy shared a statement on Instagram um, denying the allegations. Of course he did. The allegations are oh, he says the allegations are not only false but also deeply disturbing. It's the seeds. Anyway, deeply disturbing. Where did I leave off? Oh, okay. Especially coming from someone I love. This malicious attempt to tarnish my character. Girl, stop. Um, to tarnish my character and disrupt my family is ridiculous, he shared. It's disheartening to witness the manipulation and deceit at play, and this time my main concern is being an active father to our daughter as I continue to fight for court mandated joint custody. Rest assured, the truth will prevail through the proper legal channels. You see? What I tell you? We gotta let it play it on court. Child. According to the complaint, Jeannie Mai alleges that on January 18th, 2022, in Miami, Florida, her then husband began to berate her in a car after he asked the driver to step out of the vehicle. He hurled insults such as, I think this says you are a HOE. It's bleeped out. And I can't wait to divorce you when we get back. The court documents state Jeannie Mai also claims she was held against her will, and Jeezy struck her with a closed fist across her cheekbone and eye, causing a subconjunctival, hemorrhage. Basically, brain hemorrhage is what it sounds like that is. The pair were then, it says then the pair were sought therapy in regard to the alleged incident. 3 months later, Jeannie Mai alleges in the court filing that another incident occurred at the Ritz-Carlton in San Francisco during which the television personality, they just adding words in here. Anyway, during which Jeannie Mai claims that Jeezy choked her from behind as she was ascending the stairs and pushed down. She was pushed down the stairs by Jeezy. The performer then allegedly proceeded to verbally assault her and called her effing bitch and repeated, I can do so much better than you. Hotel security later intervened and provided protection for Mai after her claims of feeling unsafe. I'm not going to read all of this, but there are also, from my understanding, text messages from, I don't know which way it started, but basically both of them are on there, or he's on there saying that, whatever the incident was, he's been feeling bad about it and this, that, and the third. Listen, I don't know why I care, but it does. I had to stop listening to some people today on like other content creators. I was just like, are y'all serious right now? At the gate, they blaming this lady. And I remember months ago when the whole him filing for divorce broke. It was just like, I feel like the word I want to use, YouTube won't let me use, but it just seemed like they wanted to assassinate this lady's character. That's what it felt like to me. it's like, if we can make this person, if we can find an excuse for why this happened to this lady, then that's what we're gonna do. It's the Chris Brown and Rihanna of it all. All of the people that I talked to over the years, even in I used to teach life skill classes in my early 20s to teenagers. So this was after the Chris Brown and Rihanna situation, right? And I would always ask them when we got to the interpersonal and personal skills and whatever, and we would talk about um, violence against women or violence against anyone in a relationship. I would always bring up that, even though I knew what was going to happen, I always brought it up because I just wanted to hope that it was going to be different. It never was. It always was, we don't know what happened in that car before. Where have I heard that before? I've definitely heard that from lots and lots and lots of people who want to provide cover for law enforcement after they have unnecessarily used excessive force that caused whoever it was to be unalived. That's what I typically hear from certain people. Well, we don't know what he was doing before the police did that to him. Let's let it play out. Let's let the legal system do what it's supposed to do, right? Mm-hmm. Even though all these brown people walking around here like, are you serious? It's not far-fetched for us to know that it didn't have to be anything serious for the brown person to be unalived. It wasn't serious for Tamir Rice. Wasn't serious for Emmett Till. Mm-mm. George Floyd, and on and on and on. Just walking around being who you are, if you're a certain skin tone, is all they need. And I'm not talking about all. I'm just saying. But yeah, you hear the same type of stuff when people don't want they don't want a certain population of people to be held accountable. You can let the whole justice system play out, quote unquote, and those people get put in jail, i.e. R. Kelly and Bill Clinton, and people are still, he couldn't have done that. So it's like he couldn't have done it if one person is saying this is what this man has done. She's just trying to ruin this man's career. She just wants, a come up, whatever it is. Fill in the blank with all the excuses for why this woman had to have been doing something to cause. She had to have a motivation to be doing this. Because even a few months ago when it was reported that they were getting a divorce and he filed, they descended on her. It must have been, Jeannie is trying, her and her mom, they are trying to make him assimilate to their culture. Are you serious? Be very, very, very clear. Didn't Jeannie Mai grow up in California? She sounds very Americanized to me. Just saying. So it must have been the mom. The mom was, her culture was, he didn't want them in her business or in their business. She moved in, never moved out. Yeah. Now I have a clearer picture. If these allegations are true, I have a clearer picture who probably put that out there into the ether for people to consume and run with. Because one thing I can tell you, I noticed, you are allowing these people to roast your wife. Because she's still your wife. You are allowing these rumors to run rampant. Right? You ain't out here saying, because this is my thing. I ain't saying that he got to still be in love with her, still marry her, whatever. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, if you love her the way you say you did in this post or whatever the case may be, Because you're trying to clean it up. Damage control, right? Why didn't you do that when people were dragging this lady for filth? And now what I've seen online today is, well, she said, because what did the article say? So basically, people were remembering or recalling that Jeannie said, I was shocked. Was that the word she used? I can't remember if she said she was shocked. It wasn't shocked, it was something else. But it kind of means shocked. Man, I can't think of the word that she used. Blindsided. People are like, yeah, she said she was blindsided. She's a liar. Let's nail her in the coffin. For the people in the back, come to the front. Let me clear this up for you. Okay? Two things can be true at the same time. Follow the logic. If you're a human being that's been out in public at all in your whole life, you probably know the divorce rate in this country is extremely high, right? And if you grew up in any type of family that had marriages, whether it's your aunt, your grandma, your mom, whomever it is, there is a good chance, a high good chance that at some point, if they're married long enough, one person has said to another at least once, I'm gonna get a divorce. Stop me when I'm lying about something. There is a story called The Boy Who Cried Wolf, right? So for the people in the back who aren't familiar with The Boy Who Cried Wolf, if you are married to someone who is threatening divorce multiple times, aren't they the boy who cried wolf? So yeah, he could have said when he was coming back from wherever they were, I think they were coming back from somewhere abroad, I believe. I think it was to her country, her homeland, whatever. He could have definitely said, I'm going to divorce you and whatever else. He could have. But again, how many people do we know? Your sister, your auntie, your cousins, your friends, your besties, people you work with, who have said, we were going to get a divorce, or I told him I wanted a divorce, or I told her I wanted a divorce. And those people, some of them, are still married. Some of those people never get divorced legally anyways. Does that mean that they didn't threaten it? Mm-mm. So everybody lying that ever said they were going to divorce somebody, all those people lying because they didn't get a divorce? They weren't shocked? Yeah, if I'm in a certain type of relationship and someone is telling me something repeatedly, even if it was initially shocking to me that you were telling me these things, you said enough, I don't believe you. I have no reason to believe you. So that's how come she could say out of her mouth, I was shocked. And be clear, narcissists, and I'm not saying that this man is, but I'm just going to say to everyone, narcissists do that exact thing. I know so many people that it's a whole manipulation. So the narcissist found them a new victim, unfortunately. And to the rest of the world, these people are great. They're fun to hang out with. Because they do that. It's manipulation. But then when you tired of them trying to manipulate you and gaslight you and all of that kind of stuff, and you're going to leave, suddenly they're going to unalive themselves because they can't be with you. Meanwhile, they're doing nothing but probably most likely cheating on you and then making you think you crazy, lying on you, or just doing whatever, doing things that they know are manipulative. And guess what? It works because so many people stay. I don't want him. to leave me. No, it's not that. I'm sorry. I don't want for him to unalive himself. Because then it's really serious. It's just like those people who will tell their girlfriend or boyfriend, I don't want you wearing those type of clothes. I want you to keep that sexy for me. I don't like you with makeup. Really? You met me with makeup? Some people will unfortunately look at that as some sign that they don't look at it sometimes as possessive. They'll look at it as, oh my God, he only wants to be around me. Then it becomes, I don't want her around. I don't like you around your sister. I don't want people coming over. And the people he's talking about is probably your family, your bestie, your whomever, people you're close to that you would confide in. He doesn't want those people around because why? They're logical. And they're going to tell you stuff that's going to make you think differently about this person. And they can't have that. It's some manipulation. So I can't say whether or not she's lying or he's lying because I don't know these people. But I can definitely tell you I know exactly how manipulators work. And I know how victims are. Like I said, I've spent my whole adult life in service to others. And the service to others is probably 95% people who what's the right word? I haven't worked with as many people who have a diagnosis of some sort as I have with people who are in foster care or have mental illness and other things, a myriad of things, drug problems and stuff like that. So most of it has been children and families and stuff like that, but it's not the only thing. I've sat with so many victims, and that's why it's so frustrating. For all of those people that are going to blame this lady, go work at a psych hospital. Go work at go work in family court. Go work at spend some time at a women's shelter or any type of shelter. It's gonna open your eyes. I promise you. Unless you're a sociopath and you can't feel empathy, it's probably not gonna change your. It won't change those people's minds. And by the way, if there's so many, because I know there's gonna be people who think, oh well, men get abused too. You're absolutely right. So do people who are in same-sex marriages or relationships. They definitely do. But ask yourself, if there's so many men being abused by women, why are there no, at least I don't know of any, shelters for battered men? You know any? If you do, put it in the chat so I can go research it. Because I like empirical data. And empirical data means data that's typically heavily researched. And it's not just one entity that has researched this data. And it's typically over many, many years. Why is that important and not just going to Google? I'll tell you why. The reason that's significant and the reason that's important, think about it. When your doctor prescribes you some new medication or any medication, it's probably a good idea if your doctor knows the side effects of said medication. That's why it has to be prescribed. Because the medication that's really difficult to be harmful to someone, unless they have some sort of allergy to something that is in that medication or whatever the case may be, it's because the FDA has said it's okay for people to take this particular medication that doesn't have or may not have profound symptoms, like, oh, it's gonna cause my brain to bleed, or oh, if I take this medication with this medication, those medications could both have high level of a certain type of drug or ingredient that if you take both of them, it could cause serious harm to your liver, your heart, whatever. You want to be informed about that. You don't want for that list of side effects that they staple on the Walgreens bag to not be researched, right? You want your doctor to know so that they can advise you. You do. You want, okay, let me say it like this. I want to know. I want to feel confident that what my doctor is telling me is truthful. There's no way for everybody to know everything. That's why you have specialists, but I'm just saying, that's why you want it to be studied. Think about it. Fentanyl is out here, listen, causing all kinds of havoc. There's a few reasons why, but the biggest is the people who are out here distributing it are not informed or don't care. So yeah, I want people that know what has happened, and those little packets that I'm telling you about of side effects. That doesn't mean any of that stuff is going to happen to you. It just means that when they were doing their research with human or rats or whoever the studies were being done on, this is what happened to some of those people. Because you have to inform us. There's ways to get around certain things. But here's the thing. When you think about it, you have to get you have to give people information if it's going to directly impact their life or the life of their loved ones or whomever, their children, the husband, whomever. You have to notify those people. Otherwise, you got a whole group of people who are out here passing away because somebody didn't research something. And like I said, it's impossible for the doctors to know everything. That's why they're practicing medicine. It's an ongoing learning process, no matter who you are. Even me, if I could have all the degrees in the world and a whole license, but then something else happens, right? So, for example, if I became a therapist 25 years ago, or 35 years ago, whenever it was, before Alzheimer's and dementia would have been so researched, and even with all the research they have, they still don't have enough research to really prevent it or really truly understand what causes it. They just don't, right? The dementia and Alzheimer's wasn't always in the DSM, which is the Diagnostic Statistical manual for any type of, it's like the Bible for mental health specialists, therapists, psychiatrists, sociologists. Is it sociology? No, there's another word. I'm thinking sociology is not the right word. Psychology. It's like the Bible, so that you can diagnose people. But it's criteria, right? You don't want to take your mom to the doctor and they just say, okay, well, yeah, she has dementia. Let's put her on this medication. You would want to know more, is what I'm getting at, and you deserve to. That's why I hate when I won't put this on doctors because it's not only their fault, but that's why it bothers my soul when you have a sick person that came in through the ER or whatever the case may be, or just a a person that you need to do some sort of procedure on, or whatever the case may be. And someone comes in the room and says, hey, we need you to sign all these consent forms. Actually, they ask you that before you even go in. You gotta sign all these consent forms. Why? Because the doctors don't want to get sued. The hospital doesn't want to get sued, even though they're so protected. Don't even get me started. But they don't want to get sued. But here's why it bothers me. So the doctor or health professional had to go to school for what, 8 years? They are informed. Unless I have the same MD, how am I informed? I'm not. I can't be informed in an hour. I'm not. I'm not informed. So how can I give you consent? It makes no sense. And no matter what it is, even the doctor only has a limited knowledge of whatever it is. And guess what? We have even less of a knowledge than they do. And they went to school for 8 years. So how exactly are you expecting me to sign off on this information for surgery, whatever it is, for the doctor to treat me? You give me 10 minutes of a supposed education and I'm informed? Okay. Why is it that then I can't go and be an expert on this trial over here about something going on medically with some other person? They're going to call me, but yet I'm an informed person? No, you're going to call the expert. I am not an expert. I am not the person that has been informed over the years about all of these different chemicals and how they interact and what plays what well with other things. I'm not informed. But they want you to sign that document because they want to release themselves in the hospital or the clinic or wherever it is that they're practicing medicine. They want to release themselves from any type of liability. That's why. And again, I'm not talking in a vacuum. I'm not saying this applies to every hospital. Well, it probably does apply to every hospital. But it definitely doesn't apply to every doctor, for sure. But that is annoying to me because it's a can of worms that I don't even want to open up. But people are just very, very interesting. Let me look at my little notes because I didn't even pull up my little notes. Let me make sure I covered all the stuff that I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Oh, you know what? I want to say this too. So for people who may be like, um, well, she told her therapist and she told her this person and that person and whomever else. Why didn't the therapist report this? Let me break it down for why. So, therapists, their information is privileged. No different than, it is different, but it's not very different than attorney client privilege, right? So, yes, there are certain things that by law, so there are certain people and they're called um oh Lord, I'm having a brain fog. Mandatory reporters. So I would be a mandatory reporter of certain things. A doctor would be a mandatory nurse, a teacher, probably the principal, um, any type of educator that's working around children. Um, Police people, firemen, people like that, right? They are mandatory reporters, but therapists, just like attorneys, there's a certain thing, there are certain things that they have to report, right? So if you're an adult and you're talking to your therapist about how um, your husband's being physically violent to you or your child or whatever. No, let me just take it one step at a time. If you say that to your therapist, it's privileged information, right? So a therapist, what's the right word? If the client says, I don't want you to tell anybody this, they can't. It's privileged information. And adults have the right to self determine. I'm an adult. So I don't have to tell anybody what's going on in my home regarding violence unless the violence is happening to a person that does not have the ability to protect themselves. So that would be a child, that would be anybody with intellectual disabilities, that would be elderly people. I'm sure I'm leaving out someone, but it's basically anyone who can't protect themselves from harm. Children they don't have a way to take care of themselves, so someone has to take care of them. So that means they have to stay in that house with whoever. So that's why they're at risk. Elderly people probably not going to stand a chance against someone who's not. People who have intellectual disabilities, they're going to get taken advantage of. They're protected. That's why you have to hire certain people. They have to have certain they're supposed to be monitored. But don't get me started. Hi. Um, so basically, like I said, it's anyone that doesn't have the ability to protect themselves is who um, you have to be a mandatory. You have to report it. With a therapist, you could go into your therapist's office and say, "I've been diagnosed with HIV." That therapist cannot say anything about that to your husband, whomever. They can't inform them at all. It's protected. It's protected. And I remember being in college when I was getting my social work degree, like, listen, I'm a little bit of a rebel if you haven't noticed. But I remember being in college and like arguing with my professors who have PhDs. Like, what do you mean I can't? Listen, I wasn't having it. I'm like, can I mail a letter? Because I personally feel I would want to know. Now, there is always an exception to every rule, right? So, a therapist, a psychiatrist, certain people in certain professions have a duty to warn. So, if my client comes in and they say they are going to do, what's the right word? Egregious bodily harm to themselves or others. So if they're going to unalive themselves or anyone else, the therapist has to report it. They have a duty to warn whoever the people are that this client has said that they're going to do grave bodily harm to this person. It's also in the therapist's best interest to do really good documentation on what transpired in this meeting. And the biggest part is, well, I won't say it's the biggest part, but it is a big component. You do need to make sure that you are asking all the right questions before you let that person walk out of the door. So questions like, does this person have a plan? Do they have a plan to unalive themselves, or do they have a plan to unalive others? So part of a plan could be um, a date, a time, a place, right? If they answer yes to certain questions, you got to write it down. I advise you to if you're a therapist or you're trying to be one. You also want to ask, do they have the means? Means means, do they have access to a weapon? Do they have access to some sort of chemical that they can put in their favorite banana pudding or their favorite soft drink and then make it seem as though um, there are certain things that you could put in someone's meal that are tasteless, colorless, they don't smell like anything. And people used to use this one thing I'm thinking about to get away with unaliving people. Because they didn't have a way to really check for it. So it would just appear that this person just had a heart attack to an untrained eye. That's what it just looks like. This person went into cardiac arrest, and that's why they're gone. But people have, doctors, medical people, they've caught on. This person shouldn't be over here. This 27-year-old person who is healthy otherwise should not be in multi-system failure without some other underlying health problem. People don't regularly just, the word I want to use, I can't. They don't just, that's not typical. Let me say it like that. Especially if the person's healthy. It's not to say that healthy people don't just end up having some sort of catastrophic scenario happen to them. It's just unlikely that whatever it is, that all your organs are going to fail. And a doctor is probably going to be able to figure that out. They're going to be like, why is this person not alive? Oh, this is another thing I wanted to bring up. The other reason that the therapist doesn't have the right, or doesn't have to tell you, or sorry, the other reason that the therapist does not have to tell anyone about what the wife, I'll use the wife with HIV, has reported or advised her of, is because there's a few reasons, but the biggest reason to me is privacy. Our Constitution says that we have the right to privacy. You start down listen, that's a very slippery slope. You take away people's right to privacy. Who's going to go and tell the therapist anything immediately? That whole industry is dead at that point. Because who's going to go tell their therapist anything if they know that all the court has to do is summon your documents? There will not be a therapist for anyone. Because how am I going to be truthful and honest? And then if it comes out in court, what if my uncle that raised me, what if I said in there he also molested me? But also too, what if this lady, that your client that came into the office, is lying? What if it was an accident when the doctor told her that this is what her test results were? So if she is lying, hypothetically, he or she, what if then that person, that your client, went and unalived their significant other based on a lie? So, like I said, there's many reasons why um, confidentiality is put into place to protect our privacy. Um, I don't know about y'all, but to me, this whole story is giving me Kenya Moore and Mark Daly vibes. For those people who watch um, The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Mark Daly, what did Nene say? Cause Mark kept saying, Ken, Ken. And Nene was like, I like Ken. She was like, I like Ken. Who the hell was that? She was like, Ken, shut the fuck up. Mark ain't down for all those tricks that Kenya be over here playing. He is not with it. He ain't. And I feel bad for her. I don't even like Kenya. I felt so bad for her. Cause who wants to come and bring their prized husband, who's very handsome, allegedly successful, who wants to bring this person on TV and then all they do is publicly humiliate you? That privacy thing I was talking about earlier, that's another reason. Because I remember Kenya was fighting so hard to not allow, for the judge to not allow certain things like her income in the court proceedings. Why? Because people could then go and it's public record. So now everybody knows what Kenya makes if the courts allow that. If I'm Kenya Moore, I don't want the whole world to know what my bank account looks like. Because to me, if you're making a really decent income, like 6 figures or more, I don't need people. There's already enough crazy people in the world. I do not need those people showing up to my doorstep because they think I'm a millionaire and now they're going to come and get there. I don't need those type of problems. So I understood why Kenya didn't want that to happen. And I felt bad because even though I don't like Kenya, I think she, for whatever reason, does not see it for women. She will read you up and down if you're a woman. Apollo was accusing her for 4 years, I feel like, of trying to get with him and have with him at some hotel. Kenya did not have that same smoke for him. She's sitting over there with her fan and just ignoring him. I'm not Portia. Really, she's not giving that same to Portia. Any of the females, she ain't giving that same smoke to them. And it's just really crazy how she sat in front of that. This is why I don't like Kenya. How she sat there to come and meet with the Tanya lady who brought a wig back. That's why you tearing into this lady and bringing the cookie lady along to make it seem as though this lady's fiance is unfaithful. That was called for, Kenya? That wasn't called for. And then the following season, the stuff that unfolded at that event, that men's event, he did not acknowledge her. He's giving her grief over what outfit she went and found. But I hoped for Kenya it would work, but I knew from the beginning when she said, I feel like the season prior or the next season, whenever it was that they let her come back, I can't remember is when they let her come back or before, but she was like, the first thing she noticed, she asked him a question about something. I think it had to do with them having dinner or whatever, and he was like, "Is that a problem?" He was gaslighting Kenya, and I'm like, "Girl, why are you even saying this on TV?" No, I knew it was control out of the gate. That's why people shouldn't be so. It's not just people. It's like I said, toxic conditioning that we should all be married. We should all be, dependent upon a man and stay married no matter what he does. I can't. Listen, I know what the Bible says. I do. And I believe in God. But I also believe in forgiveness. And if my husband ever tried it, whatever it might be, we are going to get a divorce. Be very clear. And then I'm going to go and have a prayer and ask God for forgiveness. That's what it's there for. Forgive me. Okay? Because I just don't feel like I'm supposed to be putting my life in danger for a marriage. I don't believe anyone should be doing that. Mm-mm. I'm staying in this abusive marriage. I'm not doing that. And yes, I'm going to trust God and everything else. But I'm going to just need a pass because I'm getting a divorce. It is what it is. I am not letting anyone do bodily harm, mind games, gaslighting, any type of abuse, whether it's emotional or whatever. I'm not doing that. Listen, I am way too juicy. I'm not wasting all my juiciness on this idiot, whoever he might be. I'm married. I've been married for 18 years. I'm not. I love my husband. I don't want to ever get a divorce. However, I'm not doing that. I am top tier. How many times do I have to say I made for 5-star hotels and room service? We're not doing that over here. I was just trying to see if there is any other information that I could provide the people with. I don't know if I said this already, but I do want to say this though. If you think about it, our government and our systems were not set up by women. Women were not in the room. People of color were not in the room when they were making the Declaration of Independence. If I said this already, my bad. I'm gonna say it again. It's my channel. But there was only white people, and they were all male. So no shade to males, no shade to white people. I love all people. However, let's be very clear. Those men did not set up laws that were not in their best interest. They just didn't. So if I'm making the laws, I'm going to make laws that are in my best interest. Just like in my house, I'm making the rules that are in my best interest. It doesn't even have to be a courtroom or a law. It don't have to be none of that. In my house, it's my way or the no way or my husband's way or whatever. Right? So to be more, give just a little more detail. Why is it that if you go look at, perfect example, I think, what was it, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, I had gone back to school, and I remember I had to write a paper, because don't we always have to write some sort of research paper? But I did my paper on domestic violence, or DV, right? And some of the research included the state where I am, where I live in Texas. So there was, and it's back reinstated, but there was like 3.5 years or 4 years that a piece of legislation called the Violence Against Women Act that I believe President Clinton enacted in 1996. Think about that. Why does it take that many years, hundreds of years, for there to be a Violence Against Women Act in Texas? And then why on earth is it sitting on our Congress's desk? Because people can't agree. We can't all agree that it should not be okay for anyone to put their hands on other people. That's number one. And be clear, the reason they name it domestic violence, I promise you it's a good reason. Because they want people to be like, oh, that's just a it's a domestic dispute. But if that same person who beaten me beats someone else, it's assault. Is it not the same? If my husband is doing that, my boyfriend, whoever else, it's not the same exact thing. Someone's assaulting me. Be very clear. That's what's happening. Listen, how many years did it take? People used to believe and say that your husband can't argue. If it's against my will, he can't. And there's people still today who think, no, when you're married, it isn't yours anymore. And trust me when I say people use the Bible or religion, let me say it like that, against a woman, but you're not supposed to. Really? But this is the logic that people had. Toxic conditioning. That's what was happening. It's gaslighting. What do you mean? This man gets to just do whatever with me because I'm married to him? You're crazy. Child. What did Oprah Winfrey say on that movie The Color Purple? Was it yeah, she told Celie, Miss Celie, she said, girl, I bashed Mr. Ted in and asked for forgiveness later. Just saying. That's what she said in that movie. But yeah, why do you have a law that y'all can't get together that goes unfunded, unrenewed for 3 years? It's about women. That's why. We can do that. That can wait. It's double standards all over the place. Like, why is it that I can't have free will? I won't even say me. Our population of people, why we can't have free health care? Because that's unreasonable. And who's going to pay for that? But all of the people sitting in Congress, guess what they have? Free health care. How? So they deserve it, but we don't? We're the taxpayers. What are you talking about? How is it that I don't deserve it? Am I not paying? Am I not working? How come you don't see the double standard here? How come everybody in prison has free health care? Be clear. You're in prison because you 9 times out of 10 did something you were not supposed to be doing. Not everybody in there is innocent. I know that. But you're in there for a reason. 9 times out of 10. You're a danger to society in some way. So, why do you get free health care but I don't? And you're not even contributing to anything. Why are you in there? You're in there for life. Free food. Some stuff just doesn't make any sense to me. And that's not to say if you go to prison, you shouldn't have health care. I'm only saying then I should. If I'm a working person, that you're taking my taxes away from me. I don't have a problem with you taking my taxes. Even if it's to make sure everyone has access to good health care. I don't care, but listen, I'm a social worker. So I care about the greater good. Just saying. It's asinine that people in Congress can just sit there and just obstruct. Why are you obstructing, but you don't like criminals, right? Isn't it a crime to put your hands on someone else? You should be for it. Why does it take y'all all that time? If it's not so prevalent and there's all of this data to prove that it is, but let's just say it isn't. Why on earth did we fund it in 1996? Because there's compelling evidence, unfortunately, that men are just more violent. Just is what it is. And if you expect people to leave, they need to have a place to go that they can't be found. That's safe, right? Some unlisted address somewhere. It's asinine. Oh, this is another thing I don't understand. I'm on my soapbox, but I'm about to get off this live because I don't even know what time it is. Oh my God, it's almost 6 a.m. My husband's like, we gotta go to the doctor tomorrow. I got another doctor's appointment. Anyway, so he's just trying to go to sleep. He like, go to sleep. Pray for me, y'all. Just saying. He's saying that I love because I haven't been able to sleep with pain that I'm having, and I had to get a new surgeon because of some crazy incidents that have happened with this particular company, agency, whatever you want to call it. It's a big practice, if that makes sense. So there's multiple locations and whatever else. And there were some issues. And so if people are in your establishment, feel free to be disrespectful and rude and whatever else. I cannot let you put me under general anesthesia, and you can't even get your people, your staff, to be respectful to your patients. This Both times that I went to this one location, I left crying. And I won't get into all of it, but I will say this. I didn't cry inside because I'm a G, and I had to hold it together because I can't let this idiot that I'm talking to win. But there were multiple people who came outside where I was because the first time I was just crouched in a corner over there. I was so angry. I was crying because I was so angry. I'm like, how do you not help someone? I'm a person in pain. What are you doing? She wouldn't let me keep my appointment with the surgeon. And I'm like, I'm a person that's in pain. You know that. What are you doing? But again, I'm not going to get into all of that. I left crying, crouched in the corner, and these four people. I was like, God is sending me angels. Because I think my guardian angels went on vacation or something. I don't know. He had to put in replacements. I'm not sure. I'm joking. But yeah, that day I was like, I quit life. I'm done. I was just, because I had been up all night in pain. It was just like, what she was trying to do, I couldn't. I was just like, how are you in healthcare treating people this way? What in the hell? Anyway, I think God sent those people out there because it was like 4 or 5 people that surrounded me, was praying for me. I don't know these people from a can of paint. So then last week, when they told me to go to, they told me this address, but it wasn't, I'm not even going to get into it. When I get there, they're like, you're at the wrong location. Excuse me? I've been on the phone with your people since 8:02. I haven't had any sleep. At that point, I have been awake for 36 hours or something like that. Which is why my husband's like, please go to bed. He has my best interests at heart. But I said all that to say this. I left crying again because people were just being just so rude. Again, I'm like, why am I here? Why did y'all send me to this place? But one of the ladies who prayed for me, she stayed and talked with me for probably like a good 30 minutes. I took a picture with her because I was like, I want to remember this lady. Where's her photo? Okay, I think I passed it up. Let's see. Did I pass it up? Oh, please. Hmm. Where did her photo go? Did it come before this? I must have passed it up or something. Oh no, here she is. So I took a picture with her because she came over there and just poured into me and just loved on me and prayed for me. It was a lot of people though that again came around, like because they were walking out of the same clinic that I was in. And then I also think people don't like to see women crying or whatever else. It's just it's the humanity. It's so interesting because it's like, how do these people that don't know me from Adam, from a can of paint, have more compassion and empathy than you and your staff, not the surgeon, but the staff working there do. Savage. Listen, what I've learned over a period of 4 years is that the healthcare industry is, listen, it's rampant with racism. Because the lady that I took the photo with, the one that stayed with me for a while, because she wasn't one of the first people that came up to me. She was like, "Who did it? And is it the lady with the salt and pepper hair?" Listen, sis was sitting already, and she's a good 70 something years old. I felt, she didn't say this, but I felt in my spirit, she probably felt like they're treating this lady this way. I just feel this way because of the color of her skin. Because all of the people that I've ever seen, I've never seen a person of color at that office. Not ever. And I'm not saying that that's true, but I think she wanted to come in there and dare them. That's what I think. I could just be, I could be wrong, but I think she, listen. I mean, I was like, listen, lady, she's a G. I'm like, this is what I want to be like when I grow up. I'm probably already like that. I can't stand a bully. And I don't let people bully me. But be clear, I'll probably let you get way more people get away with saying something slick to me. Because, like I said, I could be sitting already in a day of the week, or I could just ignore idiots. It is what it is, depending on what day it is. But be clear, I hate even more someone trying to bully someone. Oh, I'll step right on in there. What we not doing? Like, I don't play them type of games. Anyway, guys, I'll probably have some more information at another time when the story has more meat to it. So, anyways, again, thank you guys for tuning in to this live. Most people are asleep, so they'll get a notification when they wake up. But if this is your first time visiting Chanel's Reality and you like the content that I have created over here, then please, please, please like the video. Hit all my buttons, subscribe, get your notifications, all of that. I would support it. I've only been doing YouTube for like 2 months, 2.5 months. And I'm like shocked. I'm like, oh my God. It makes you feel special when you're like, 3,000 people watched my video? What is happening? I mean, it's not that shocking. I'm a Leo. No. Just saying. I'm joking. But yeah, so smash all of my buttons, and thank you guys so much for tuning in to Chanel's Reality. I will talk to you guys later. Y'all have a good day, because everybody probably waking up now. How do I stop it? I always forget. Isn't this?